Hey guys, Herman here from Sans Minds Magic, and welcome to Trace of Thought, a very bizarre effect that adds a visual touch to mentalism. Now, first off, I want to thank you for picking up this project and supporting us here. It was created by our very own Sans Minds Creative Lab. Now, traditionally, for mentalism demonstrations that are very impactful, they would be very presentational driven. And even though Trace of Thought is also presentational driven, we believe that adding this visual element would really step up the classic way to perform mentalism. Now, in the DVD, we're going to go over 3 handlings for Trace of Thought. One is a portable handling, and which is great for your stroll around gigs or if you're doing table hopping, and the other 2 are table handlings, in which maybe you find yourself performing this effect in lounge environments or even at a coffee shop. Now, all 3 handlings have their own advantages in different ways. However, if you find that you're a stroll around guy, you think that you're going to do the portable handling, I don't suggest that you just go straight to the portable handling and don't watch the other ones, because all 3 handlings have their own different tips and just something to take away from that you can apply to the other handlings as well. So I suggest that you watch the entire DVD before you go out and perform this. Now, I know you guys are going to have lots of fun performing this effect, and you're just going to put this directly into your mentalism repertoire. So without further ado, let's get into it.
How good is your imagination? Is it good?
Sure.
Sure, okay, let's try this, let's try this. I know you like money, let's try this. Just imagine I'm holding a quarter inside my hand.
Yeah, you're a quarter?
Yeah, can you see it? There's a quarter in my hand, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna place a quarter right over here. Can you see it, right? Okay, I'm gonna take a $1 coin, put it right in the middle, right over here. There are $2 coin right over here. So we have 3 coins. Hold your right hand like this, hold your right hand like this. Okay, in a moment, I'll turn back. Just reach your hand over, grab the imaginary coin, any one of those, right? The quarter, the $1, the $2 coins. You choose whatever, just go ahead and grab one now, just grab one now, just grab one now. Put it behind your back. Do you get one? Yeah. Okay, mix around the other 2 coins, mix around the other 2 coins. Beautiful. See, there's no way I could tell which coin you're holding, because it's imaginary, right? Which is pretty weird. Check this out, I'm gonna show you something really neat. I have a notepad right here. That's what we're gonna do. In a moment, I'm gonna ask you to place your coin on the notepad, all right? Just take your coin out. Just put it over there. Beautiful, beautiful. Can you see the coin right over here?
I can see it,
you know,
yeah.
sometimes when the thought is so strong, it's almost tangible. Check it out. Check it out. I think you are holding the either $1 coin. Either $1 coin.
Oh my god!
It's a $1 coin you're holding?
Yeah.
You're holding $1 coin.
So you just watched a live performance from our very own Jason performing it. Now let's go over the secret of the effect. So for the portable handling, what happens is there is a gimmick notepad, but before we get into that, let's actually go through the coin selection phase. So how do you obtain the knowledge of what coin they picked? It really is a free selection, but let's go over very quickly how it all works. Now, because I'm here in Canada, I'm going to use some Canadian coins, so I would be using a quarter, a loonie, and a toonie. Now, depending on where you are in the world, of course, you would use the one that reflects best for your region. But in this case, I'm going to use a quarter, a loonie, and a toonie. Now, while you're doing this, of course, you are having your spectator participate in your little imagination kind of journey. So as long as they are imagining that you are, placing a quarter over here, a loonie over here, and a toonie over here, that is very important that you're giving a great amount of distance between the coins as well. You don't want them clustered over here, because then it's going to be hard to see which coin they grab. And that is basically the secret of what's going on. You're actually peeking on where they are reaching for the coin. So as I'm turning my hand away, my head away, I can actually see peripherally where their arm is going. Now, here I'm just explaining in front of camera, I'm performing in front of camera, so it's hard to really describe. But when you have a friend or a magician that helps you with this, when you are first learning this, you can actually peripherally see where their arm is, reaching for which coin. But because you know where you place the coin and they know where you place the coin imaginarily, you're placing the quarter over here, so on your farthest right. So for you, it would be your farthest left. But as long as you keep note of this, right, and then center would be the loonie, and then toonie. And you need to give a decent amount of distance between them, because if it's clustered, that, again, as I mentioned, if they were to reach for it, it might look kind of like they're still reaching for the center, but peripherally, you will be able to see where their arm reaches towards. And let's say that you can kind of see their arm reaching over here. Like, I would be able to see what's going on over here. If it's over here, I know it's too far, and they're probably reaching for the quarter, and then over here, they'd be reaching for, the middle one, which is the loonie. Again, depending on your region, you would be using the coins that are appropriate for where you perform. Over here, let's say that, they were to choose a toonie, for example. Like, I would be able to see that they chose the toonie from my peripheral vision. And I can even have my hand over here to kind of cover it, but I can still see with my peripheral vision because it's very wide. So that is basically a very quick quick rundown of the secret of how to know what coin they picked. Now, let's say again that they chose the toonie. So I have, as I mentioned before, the gimmicked notepad over here. So let me show you exactly how it's gimmicked and how it's prepared. Now, we're gonna, of course, go over how to prepare your notepad, but just so you get a gist of how it looks like. Right now, I have a small pencil and a notepad, and over here, there are 3 different coins. So over here, as you can see, there's a quarter over here, there's a loonie, and there's a toonie. Now, the paper's been cut out for about 15 pages and stuck together. Now we're gonna go over how to do that. And as you can see, it's relatively flat against the page. So when I put one sheet over, just like that, just to cover, so they don't see the coin, I would flip over one more page, and this is the page that I'm gonna be drawing on. And because, basically, if I were to draw over it, there is an impression. Now, if you've ever done this as a kid, then you'd know that when you draw over a coin, you can see the impression of the coin once you sketch over it. Now, it would be prepared like so. I have my pencil over here, so when I'm ready to introduce a book, I would open from this page, take out the pencil, show them that apparently all the pages are normal. And these pages are normal as long as you don't display, this side, which are glued together. And as you can see, the coins are over here as well. Now, of course, you're keeping note of which coin is where. So in this case, the bottom one is a quarter, the middle one is the loonie, and the top one is the toonie. Now, remember that in this example, I know that they picked the toonie, so I would know that they are going to be I will be sketching over this section of the piece of paper. So at this point, you would have them take their imaginary coin from their hand and just, plop it onto the notepad, just like that. And once they put it on, you would take your pencil and you would, deliver a presentation. We'll be going over that later, but just for the sake of it and for the sake of things, let's draw over this area that we know is the toonie. And at this point, you can see that it is one of the larger coins, and the sizes are distinctly different, even if the details aren't showing up too much. And you just say, oh, are you thinking about the toonie? And then at this point, you just have to lift up one page, okay? So that, you don't show the coin from underneath. So you can just rip that off. You can write something nice on it. It can either be a quote, your name, whatever it may be, even like $2, it doesn't really matter. And then at this point, you can hand this out immediately. All the heat is on this piece of paper, and this drawing, they're just reacting, their jaws are dropping. And at this point, the notepad just goes away. And then, out of sight, out of mind, all the attention is over here. A very, very lovely souvenir for them to remember the impossible moment by. All right, so let's get into how to prepare yourself so you can perform the portable version. Now, what you'll be ending up with is this lovely little prepared notepad. So you have a pencil, and then you have 3 coins that are embedded into the 15 pages or so of the bottom section of the notepad. Okay, so let's learn how to make that. I'm gonna put this aside for now. Now, you will be keeping this pencil because you will be tracing the outline of the coin for you to cut around. Now, let's go in order of from left to right, what the items you will be needing. So pencil, you'll need double stick tape. You'll also be needing some glue. You will need a precision blade or a knife, box cutter, whatever it is that will help you to, cut through the pages. You'll need a memo pad, okay? So a pad that hinges from the top, okay? Just like that. Now you will also be needing 3 coins, distinctively different sizes. Now in this case, I have a quarter, a loonie, and a toonie. Now depending on your region, you would be using whichever coins that vary in size distinctively in different sizes, so that they can tell what kind of coins they are. They can easily distinguish what coins they are. So in this case, again, toonie, loonie, and quarter in this case. So now let's move everything aside except for your memo pad and your glue stick. So now you have these 2 items. Now we're gonna rig up the memo pad. Now I've already done so. Now what you're gonna be doing is be taking about 15 to 18 pages, okay, depending on the size of your coin, the thickness of your coin. Now in this case, I've already glued about 15 to 16 pages, as you can see. They're glued together, so they're relatively solid. Now all I did was, I'm gonna demonstrate with one page. All I did was take the glue, I glued around the edge, and then I just kind of got the middle as well. So kind of like that. As long as you have it so that they will stick together from the edges as well. So I would take the next page, do that, make sure that it's all flush on the edges, press down, and then you do this about 15 to 16 times, depending on the thickness of the coins that you're using. Now in this case, as I mentioned before, they are already prepared. So this is where I would be placing my coins, and then tracing it, and then cutting it out. Now I'm gonna do that for one of the coins. I'm just going to be demonstrating with, let's say, the toonie. Okay. Now, for me, I would personally be placing the quarter over here, loonie over here, and the toonie over here. Now, if you're preparing with the 3 coins, you would be using your double stick tape, okay? You would be taping down all 3 coins, okay? And then you would trace around it, okay? I'm just gonna be demonstrating with one. So in this case, again, I will be using the toonie. And I'm just gonna do it in the center just for explanation purposes so it's easier for you to see. But of course, again, I would put it in distinctly different spots of the notepad. Now, I'm just gonna place it in the center. Take some double stick tape just to keep it in place. Now, it also depends on what side of the coin you wish to, create the impression of when you do the sketch. Now, in this case, I would be showing the polar bear because people know that polar bear is generally a toonie. So I'll place the double stick tape on the other side, place it on top of the notepad, wherever you want to do the tracing. Now, it's not going to move anywhere. Take your pencil that you place aside, okay, and you're going to draw the outline of the toonie, just like that. Okay. So once you've drawn your little outline, okay, you can take away the toonie. Now it doesn't matter even if you rip the page a little bit because you're gonna be cutting this out anyways. You can always, take this off, or you can keep it on because you will actually be putting this back on after you cut it out. Place your pencil aside, take whatever you are using, what blade you decide to use to cut it out. In this case, I'm using just this knife. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna cut out this outline, okay? Now, it doesn't need to be super perfect because you're gonna be placing your coin in there anyways, but it's just so that when you do place your coin on the notepad, it is relatively the same level with the rest of the notepad. Now you're cutting out about 15 pages, okay? Just enough for the coin to sit in so that when you place this coin on top, it will be about the same level. Now, as I'm cutting right now, I want to mention that if you are a younger customer, that you have your parent or guardian help you with this, someone who is older, because blades are sharp. I don't want you to cut off your fingers. Those things are very important, especially if you want to perform this effect. I'm going to place this aside for now just to see how many I've cut through and see if my coin fits in there as well. Because if it does, then I may not even need to cut anymore. Now, you don't need to cut through all of them because you can always just leave the last 2 pages untouched and then place your coin in. Or if you choose to, you can always glue this bottom one or this bottom page to the back of this as well. But sometimes I think Jason doesn't like to do that because it feels more free if he doesn't. So in this case, I can just place the coin in just like this. Now, you may want to put a little more double stick tape, okay, just around the coin, just so it stays in place when you do put it into the notepad, just like that. Now let's see if it fits in. So in this case, if I feel like it's too tight and you want to, right now, as you can see, it's not really fitting in. So in this case, I would just be taking my blade and then just cut a little more around. So I give more space around the coin for it to fit in a little more loosely. So I'm basically tracing out the outline from before, but just giving it a little more room for the coin to sit in properly. Just like that. So once you have the size right, you can just place your coin in and just see if it fits. As you can see, oh, lovely, lovely fit. And it's just gonna stay in place with that double stick tape. And as you can see, I can lift from over here and it's one solid block over here. Now, as you can see, it's also, or as you can kind of see, it's relatively parallel with the rest of the page. Of course, you don't want it completely flat, otherwise you don't get that impression. So you want it sticking out a little bit, just enough, as I said, about 15 to 17 pages, depending on the thickness of your coin. Now, you would be doing this with your other 2